We're going to take a look at backward design a little more in depth. Now, you have read a bunch and you watched some key videos, hopefully you did, by this point. And I'm just going to kind of show you how we want you to apply it in this particular course, all right? Now, this PowerPoint or Google slide is provided by Sarah Hackett, and she is one of the co-teachers for this topic or this course. So I'm kind of going over her stuff, which always makes things a lot more fun. And you will discover that if you already haven't when you go to co-teach or team teach or take over somebody else's course, etc., etc. But anyway, I digress, and that can happen a lot with me. When you're doing backward design, you're keeping in mind there are several aspects to it. The key part about backward design is that you are identifying the desired results. We do that by looking at the state standards that have been set for, or Common Core standards that have been set for that particular subject area. The next thing you're going to do is, how will you know they've actually acquired what you have set out to do? And that is by determining what is the acceptable evidence. In most cases, actually, I shouldn't say in most cases. In your case, if you haven't already been teaching, and for the sake of not driving yourself crazy, you're going to say test, right? And that is actually one of the reasons why in this particular module, we're having you look at standardized tests so that you understand how significant they are. And finally, after you've determined these two things, you will then break it down into individual lessons that lead you to the desired results. All right. And the unit plan that you will be working on, it breaks it down into tiny, I know, drives you crazy, but tiny steps so that we can see all of it. All right. Now, again, backward design, we're going to show it in a couple of different ways. You identify desired results, acceptable evidence, and then you actually sit and plan the lessons. And you can see it in a different way, keeping these questions in mind, though. What do you want the students to understand and know and be able to do? How do you check for that learning? And what activities are going to help lead to that end result? While we do this, the alignment, making sure that your lesson is aligned, or your unit is aligned to the standards, right, is very important. And that is going to be why little steps are going to be crucial. Now, Bloom's taxonomy is what you're going to use to help you understand what type of level lesson this is. Is it higher thinking? Is it is it application? Is it understanding? Is it somewhere in between, right? When we look at Bloom's taxonomy for that, okay? And so we use the language for the verbiage, all right? Identify what you want your students to learn. That's the noun. That's your lesson objective, okay? Then you're going to determine the level, and from looking at the standard, select the verb that is measurable, and that is key. And of course, is it appropriate? Is it at an appropriate level? If it's an introduction to a subject, and I'm a social studies teacher, so I have a little bit more of bullet points and standard detail than if you were in English or science, and you'll see that as we go on. So when you're introducing a subject and or a skill, you're not going to go straight to application or synthesis, depending on which verb you want to use. And so that's really important to understand when you're setting this up. And then you'll create your objective, okay? And then here's an example, right? Identify what you want students to learn, which is the 5 causes of World War II. And then that is the analysis. Analysis is breaking things down, okay? So we will then go ahead and look at that verb that would be in that level, which is examine. And then students will be able to examine causes of World War II. And of course, this is something that I would probably do in the middle, right? Because we would look at causes and then effects. I'm just saying. Okay. After creating the lesson, you want to look at what will be a formative assessment. And again, the assessment has to align to your objective. And then this is the lesson objective. Remember, we're going to break it down into various lessons. And so here, for instance, the students will be able to describe the setting in a story, in a short story. That assessment could be very simple. Just doing an exit slip where the students, as they're leaving the class, have to give you an exit slip that describes the setting of the 3 little pigs. Post-it notes are your best friends. Yeah, right there. For this section, to help you out, we have an assessment review PowerPoint, and that I will also have in the module for you to, I will have that in the module for you to look at. But it talks about the difference between formative, informal assessment and different aspects of assessment that you do need to review before you do anything else. All right, I hope this was a little helpful.